Happy Monday, Fan Duelers, and normally it takes me a couple days to do like the week week by week recap and then preview for the following week. But I was like, I feel like I got a little energy, got a little time to get it, right out the way. Pretty much week 3 was done yesterday, so we're not bouncing to week 4. But we'll start off with just talking a little bit about yesterday. First off, a lot of the chalk busted. And if they did score a decent amount of fantasy points, they did not meet what their salary was. So, quite a few unexpected people who weren't really talked about during the week, like Cordell Patterson, the Jaguars defense did pretty well, but nobody outshined the Eagles defense, who almost scored 20 on their own. Other losing notes, Bengals finally get their first win of the season. I did like the way they played. They definitely, Jets were dealing with injuries in the front line. That's where their best talent is. And they really couldn't get to Burrow. So the fact that Burrow was able to step up and have time to scramble, extend plays, which is great. Lamar Jackson pretty much the early season MVP. On top of his passing, he went for 107 yards and had a touchdown. Rams defense played solid against the Cardinals. Cardinals are just a mess, but for fantasy purposes, Marquise Brown had 14 receptions for 140, so you can't get wrong with that. Even without the touchdown, I think Marquise Brown was somewhere in the high sixes, so he definitely met his salary. Once again, quarter passing went against that sorry Seattle defense. And unknowingly, and nobody paid attention, Geno Smith playing pretty good. 325 and 2 touchdowns, so definitely something to pay attention to. But I'm not going to jump on that train yet. Falcons are good. They don't have an elite defense. Geno can get away with that. I don't think Geno's doing that to like LA or the Jaguars defense or either Buccaneers or Green Bay's defense. So let's calm that down. Other bits and pieces. The Vikings-Lions game was a great game. Cook ran for 96 with a touchdown but got hurt. We'll talk about that a little later. Bills and Dolphins, that actually went under, which was one of the games that they was supposed to be one of the highest games behind Vikings and Lions, and Ravens and Patriots, which was like a mid-40 prediction. That ended up being the highest scoring game. That game pretty much got to 60. 400 yards, 2 TDs, but yeah, you expected a lot more from other players, and that game did not shoot out well. Colts and Chiefs definitely didn't shoot out well. That busted, obviously, if you went KC stack. But like I said, NFL is an unpredictable sport. It's going to go up and down, back and forth. But like I said, to shout out other top fantasy scores, like I said, Lamar dropped a 40-piece. Devontae Smith, 26. People thought like Philly was really going to be worried about running the ball along with Jalen Hurts. Well, this kind of does hurt Sanders a bit because Sanders did bust just like Mixon. Those were 2 popular plays at running back. Mixon had like 5.3, I think 5.5 fantasy points, if that. I know Miles Sanders didn't get to 5, but then you had Devontae Smith, Mark Andrews, mini stack with Lamar at 24. Cordell Patterson had a solid 21. Like I said, Eagles defense had 18. Other little news and notes. My man, obviously Jalen Hurts had a solid day, but not as great as Lamar. But my man, Damian Pierce, he's coming out there, man. Like I said a couple of weeks ago in one of my videos that they were reporting we got to get this guy the ball. Now they're not throwing it to him. Like I said when I previewed the Damian Pierce video, if anybody wants to go back to that, you can check it out. But yeah, Florida did not. Like I said, I'm a Florida guy, and Florida did not use him like that out the backfield. Like I said, 4 years in Florida, and I think he caught 40 passes. That's catching 10 passes a year, even though the college season is smaller than the NFL season. That's not much catching. So, but they are giving him an opportunity. He's pretty much your solid 1-2 back, and literally Rex Burkhead is not getting mixed in with the rushes. He's literally the third down catch, pass back. Damian Pierce had 20 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown, score 17.1. I wish I had more of them. That means if I had more of them, I probably would have had less Sanders or Mixon with him. But I was very heavy on Mixon. I was mixing with Sanders, mixing with Pierce and other people. So it is what it is. But let's get on to week 2. And it's gonna be a fun week. I mean, all the weeks are fun. This slate definitely brings up something different. Now, the big thing about this slate, and oh yeah, hopefully I know probably you guys are gonna probably catch this video later because I'm literally like in the middle of getting this done right before the Giants and the Cowboys kick off in about what? Looking at the clock now, like 7 minutes. So, you know, hopefully after this, you guys could catch this video and get like your week 2 news early. And yeah, let's go. So let's hit this full roster because, like I said, they still got single game contests up. We'll go to the Millie. Millie's again $5 or whatever, but just less entries this time. Now it's like 400,000 entries, whatever, with 300K first. 12 games on the schedule. One of the main keys is, I think now this is the first time that there's no KC on the main slate. KC's missing. And who else like big time is missing? Buffalo's back. The Buffalo-Baltimore game was a big game right there. But yeah, Thursday games, there's a few of the teams, but yeah, the main thing, there's no Kelsey on the slate, and man, does that make an impact on the tight end? Man, the tight end pricing is, it's ridiculous. There's a major gap from Andrews, and then you go all the way down. Like, it feels like after you go to Andrews, everybody's a bargain, pretty much. So on this week's schedule, we're not gonna have the Dolphins, we don't have the Bengals, and then we don't have. Please remember this, the reason why there's 12 games on the schedule, we don't have Vikings and Saints because they're playing in London. So they're already starting the London games already. Normally the London games start like October-ish, but pretty much October. But Vikings and Saints are in London. That's why there's not 13 games on the schedule. So Vikings and Saints are gone, so no Jefferson's on the schedule. And then the Sunday night game and Monday night, Chiefs and Buccaneers, no Brady, no Mahomes, there's no Kelsey. And then since he's on the Monday slate, no Cooper Kupp, no stack him with Stafford, no bargain bin with a mid 5,000 tight end Higbee. And on the other side, with the 49ers, no cheap stacks with Jimmy G, hoping he goes off with Garoppolo. With Jimmy G hoping if he goes off with another week of rehabilitation Kittle and Debo. So let's get into this 12-game Sunday schedule. So this is the first time that it starts to shrink and maybe starts feeling bye-week-ish, because when the bye week hits and then you still got the Thursday game, you're gonna have like 10 game, 11 game, Sundays and stuff like that. So yeah, it is what it is. But alright, so let's start with week 4 and start with the quarterbacks. So in the big game, Josh Allen against Baltimore versus Buffalo. Baltimore, the home team, you got Josh Allen at 8.9K. You got Lamar 8.8. Lamar's looking like the MVP right now. Had another high upside rushing game. Now, this is something that you all gotta wait on the news. We're all gonna wait on the news, because if both of these defenses are still banged up going into week 4, you gotta get pieces of the game somehow. I know these guys off the rip, they're expensive. No quarterback at 9,000. Like, those are the two highs, 89 and 88. Nobody's at 9,000. No 9,000 Josh Allen like week 3. But if Bills' secondary and defensive line is still messed up, it's still banged up, and then of course more importantly, Lamar's fine. The offense is fine. If the secondary is still banged up, then man, you gotta find ways to like pick either or. Both of them could throw it, both of them could run it, they could dominate the game by themselves. Then it's just a case of, if you go Allen, are you going to stack with Diggs, who you running back with? Bateman, maybe even Duvernay, who scored a touchdown so far in every game this year. If you go Lamar, you're going to have to stack with Andrews. Who do you come back with? It's going to be expensive if you go with Diggs. Maybe Gabriel Davis plays a little better. But like I said, if these defenses are both banged up, this game definitely has the potential to go 60. This has potential to go 60. Forget 52. I think it's opening at 52.5 right now. Pay attention to the news for the Bills and Ravens defensive injury reports monitored throughout the week. As we keep going, we'll go down what I feel is another top player in the quarterback position. We'll go with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts home against Jacksonville, 8.6. Like I said, Jacksonville has improved. If you remember my preview video, I did say ever since the upset victory against Buffalo, Jacksonville has risen their level. They're ready to play. And they're drafting well on defense. And they got some free agents on offense. And they're drafting well on offense as well. That team is coming together. So I think it could be I think Jacksonville could do some things to maybe slow down Philly, but in the end, Philly offense right now is just too powerful. And then, like I said, Hurts, Josh Allen and Lamar are pretty much 1A, 1B. And then right now, when it comes to fantasy quarterbacks, he's definitely, I guess you could say, one seed away, but the ceiling for the other two is just way higher. But like I said, Jalen Hurts has proven himself to be a proven commodity at quarterback with his throwing. And at 8,600, that's not a bad start. Like I said, those quarterbacks are pretty much next together. When it comes to other top players, we're going to drop a little bit. And my man Goff is back at it again. He's going to get looked at. I tell y'all that I don't give a damn about that Seattle defense, especially secondary. Jamal Adams is gone for the rest of the year. Look for Jared Goff. That could mean stacks to... That could be stacks for him, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yes, he did hurt himself, but it was one of those, he rolled and tweaked his ankle. So it's one of those, they'll probably rest him once or twice and then make it practice Friday, and then he'll be good to go. TJ Hawkinson finally got on the board, which I was happy about. I didn't have much of Hawkinson in Fan Duel, but I definitely had him in the one ESPN league that I am playing season long, and he came through for me. And then, you got other guys that they throw it to too. Like, you never know if Quintus Cephas or the other guy who's getting opportunity, Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds is definitely getting some opportunity. And then the big story, we'll get to the running backs later, but like I said, even before he got ruled out, I knew he wasn't going to play. First, you got a bad, what is it? I think it's a bad shoulder or a bad ankle and a knee. So, just giving y'all a heads up, do not be surprised if we do not see DeAndre Swift through their bye week. So I'm talking about mid-October. When a guy's that banged up, he's got to be out, and then you let him rest for the bye week. I think their bye week is a early kind of mid-season bye week. I think they're week 7 or week 8, something like that. But I know it's somewhere in October that they're off. So I don't think we're gonna see, at least for the next 3 weeks, we're not gonna see any DeAndre Swift. But Goff against Seattle does look great. And hey, let me tell you something, man. They're playing solid the way they're operating the offense through Saquon, but against a Chicago defense, Daniel Jones looks like a cheap stack. You could probably stack him. To me, who's the only reliable wide receiver will have to be him and Sterling Shepard, and you could probably do a skinny stack with him, Sterling Shepard, and Barkley. He does throw the ball to Barkley as well. So, I mean, that could work as a mini stack, and it'd probably be a cheap mini stack too. Daniel Jones is literally at 7K. And then if, I like to keep it in order, but if I take a look here, he's 7K. I have to drop down a bit to get the Barkley. He's 8,100, which is pretty high. And then if I go to wide receiver, I guess Shepard, Sterling Shepard is averaging almost 11 Fan Duel points a game at 5,900. So that's a stack that, and at home against a poor Chicago defense, that's something that y'all can live with. That's, just a little preview or whatever. It's not just previewing now. I'm trying to, evolve the week 4, week 5, whatever, the week preview videos into, what stacks you might think about. And then it gets interesting, because I never thought I would, talk about these two guys. Whether if you like people or not, it is what it is. But please understand that this is fantasy advice. And let me tell you something. If you want to start off with a cheap stack, and it's because of the matchup. It's really because of the matchup. I know a lot of y'all probably think these two suck, but they're both the same price, and they are pretty much playing. One is playing the worst fantasy points per quarterback in the passing game, and another one is, both of them are pretty much playing bottom 5 in passing. Geno Smith has Detroit, Baker Mayfield has Arizona. If Baker can't perform well against Arizona, oh man, that right there is going to be an issue. And then, like I said, Geno Smith on the road at Detroit, but Detroit defense is horrible. So what you're looking at here is two guys at 66. I know I'm jumping around a bit, but Geno Smith, he is thrown into, you know where the targets are going. It's kind of like Minnesota. Justin Jefferson dealing with a sprinkle here of like Irv Smith. With Seattle is Geno Smith, give to Rashad Penny, but it's only going to Metcalf. Yes, they'll throw it to somebody else, but it's mainly Metcalf and Lockett. And when I give you the stat for Lockett later, man, you're gonna see that Geno Smith is really favoring Lockett. But there's a lot of big play opportunity. But against a team like Detroit, the big play opportunity, I'm more of a Metcalf fan than a Lockett fan. But because of the deep threat and what he does deep, can Metcalf break one? Yes. But because of his deep threat ability, I gotta give it to Lockett. So, can you stack both? Yeah. But if you're gonna mini stack with a comeback of like Amar St. Brown or maybe Jamal Williams or whatever, I think I'm going Geno Smith and Lockett. I'll give you the stats later on Lockett when we get to the wide receiver position. Baker, Arizona's defense is horrible. They just look like a mess. That whole team looks like a mess. So hopefully they use Christian McCaffrey right, because this is turning into Alvin Kamara last season when they were literally turning him into a running back and they was feeding him the ball and not letting him pass and receive. So hopefully that works out. But Baker and Geno are sneaky, very low on stacks. Both of them, remember, at 6.6K. Let's move on to the running backs here. And there's some good lineups here. There's some things here that you can work with. Chubb against Atlanta. Chubb, I think, is the most expensive person on the entire slate. At running back, 9,200. Atlanta is, once again, prove me wrong, but Atlanta's overachieving. Atlanta hasn't seen an offensive line like Cleveland's offensive line, though, and they haven't seen running backs like Chubb or Kareem Hunt. But yeah, I'm going with Chubb. 9.2. That's definitely a good play. I like the man, but he's not playing. He's playing good enough for your season-long team, and even though he's not even doing that well. So 9,400, 8,500. He's back up to 8,800. But he's not even averaging 15 fantasy points this season. Christian McCaffrey against Arizona. They got. Okay, so you saw the previous video that I did talking about his workload. Well, they gave him a decent workload. The man had 20 carries, but they're not throwing him the ball, and that's not the way you use Christian McCaffrey. I hope Baker starts looking Christian McCaffrey more in the flat instead of when they actually call his number for a design play where it's just going to Christian. He needs to look in the flat more. Baker does not look in the flat. I did take a look at that game, and it's deep, and he never looks in the flat. It's not like he sees him and then looks him off. He is not looking for Christian McCaffrey in the flat. But like I said, if people are starting to get away from Christian McCaffrey, it's like a low-owned Mahomes. A low-owned Christian McCaffrey, you're going to go for that. So let's just stop the nonsense right there. But I don't think he's going to be low. I don't think people are going to see the matchup, and hopefully he can run his way to at least a 20-point performance. Probably the next two people are probably the next two plays are probably the best plays. You got Jonathan Taylor. They're going to be motivated after the upset win against upset win against KC. They're home again against Tennessee. That defense is nothing to worry about. And then right across from him is Derrick Henry. They're literally at 87 and 86, right next to each other. So they're going to be in the same game going against each other. That would be something. I would favor that game, and I really favor the running backs. Because with these two runners right here, a lot of clock is going to be run. That means less possession, less passes. So what we're going to do is, pretty much just favor the running backs. It might sound weird, just fade the wide receivers, but like I said, Tennessee doesn't really do much. So you'll be able to, do a stack with Jonathan Taylor and have Ryan and maybe Pittman. Pittman is his main guy, whatever, because that secondary is even just as bad. Not as bad as Seattle, but it's just as bad. You got no threat there. We're gonna go scroll down a little bit, and the next person I got, look here, man. We're gonna have to protect this man, Justin Herbert. We're all Justin Herbert fans. We like the Chargers, but Eckler's gonna have to break out finally this season, and the Chargers are having a problem running the ball. So if there's one thing to get your team right, sometimes you're gonna have to either play a bad team or play a decent to good team that's bad at something. What's Houston bad at? Stopping the run. So look for Eckler I think Eckler is a bounce back. Look for Eckler to bounce back at 8,400 at Houston. I think my second or third favorite play got to be Saquon. Chicago's defense is nothing to write home about. 8,100. Saquon against this team should be maybe like 84, 85. But hey, and most importantly, let's hope that he gets out of this Dallas game tonight injury free. We're gonna keep scrolling down a bit. My next favorite play will be James Robinson. I like James Robinson at Philly. Philly's a solid defense, but James Robinson he's equal possible to get the ball out the backfield as well as running the ball out the backfield. So even though Philly defense is strong, I think Trevor Lawrence should be able to get the ball to James Robinson to be a nice play at 7,800. A bit pricey, just not too pricey. And then of course, we have what I like, just probably my favorite and funniest section of the running back section. So we got 2 pairs of handcuffs, and I credit Fan Duel. They did a great job with their pricing, amazing job. I'm gonna get into why that they did this. So DeAndre Swift wasn't playing. Like I said, bad shoulder, bad knee, whatever the case is, he was going to be out. So Jamal Williams is there. They priced them both at 7,400 just in case. They did the same thing as you go a little bit down. 7,200, Khalil Herbert. He'll be in for Montgomery. High ankle sprain. It never looks good. Never looks good. But before we get to the pair of handcuffs, let me just get these guys out the way. Javonte Williams, he's the main guy. It's like a 60-40 split in Denver, 65-35 split in Denver. Going against a poor Las Vegas defense. Yeah, I know, hey, it's fantasy. You want a cheap option. Javonte's on the 7. And then you got my man Dameon Pierce, 6,800. Like I said, your chance to get Dameon Pierce at a cheap price when he was 53, 58, whatever the case is, that's gone. That's never going to happen again. And then after that, I'm loving Rashad Penny as a low own against a bad Detroit defense because they feed him the ball and he's the bell cow. But let's get back to this. The 2 pairs of handcuffs that I'll pair it together. 7,400 Williams and Swift. You got 7,200 Khalil Herbert, Montgomery. 2 years ago, I think y'all remember this, there was a couple times where there are handcuffs that are legit talented that could start for any other team. And like I said, I think this is I call it the Alexander Madison effect. And there was a couple times that Dalvin Cook was ruled out and he literally couldn't play. And you had Alexander Madison not only in cash game, but he was 30 to 54.6 owned in public league. You just had to have him because of production and the fact that he was somewhere between 53 and 5,800. So I'm pretty sure there was a couple to a few Alexander Madison days, and FanDuel was we're not doing that no more. So I totally agree with what FanDuel did. I like the aggressive pricing. Makes us think the backups are not just a free score anymore. You're gonna have to find your value somewhere. So I definitely commend them on that. But like I said, you got Swift going against Swift. You got Jamal Williams home against Seattle, run and catching against Seattle. Big threat for 74. And then Khalil Herbert, he'll be running and catching passes. He'll be the main guy. He'll be the dog, probably all 3 downs. We got to see what's going on. We got to see what's going on, though. Who's going to be now? It's being talked like Khalil Herbert is going to be just the main guy, and they're going to just run with Herbert. We'll probably have to see who the guy is, but Jamal Williams is not built to be the guy by himself. So if I look here and I go into the schedule, what is this running back depth chart for Detroit looking like against Seattle? And right now, who's the guy that I'm looking for? You got Craig Reynolds. You got Craig Reynolds and Jamal Jefferson. That's pretty much it. So you're gonna have these guys, but Jamal Williams is not built for a 3-down role. Rashard Penny is, but Jamal Williams, that's not his role. So just pay attention to see what they do. As you can see, they're in the habit of vulturing, so maybe Craig Reynolds might get moved up. That's something that you have to pay attention to practice. Who takes what snaps of who, things like that. So the next 2 up, look out for these 2 names for very cheap. They can be cheap prices if you want to get a little different. Maybe Williams bust or doesn't break out, and maybe Craig Reynolds or Jamal Jefferson are the value that comes off the bench and helps on 3rd down. Let's move on to wide receiver. Wide receiver now, we have here we go. So biggest plays of the week. Let me reset this. Let me get it off this game right here real quick. Put it back to all. And we have Diggs at Baltimore. Diggs is fine. Don't worry about the Q tag. It was mostly cramping. I heard that game was pretty much high paced. Josh Allen had 60 attempts in that game. Overall, I heard they ran almost 90 plays. In that humidity, you're going to cramp up and your body's going to give up on you at the end of the game. It's almost impossible to play that many offensive snaps and stay hydrated. Not happening. And they're not taking Stephon Diggs off unless they take you off. But as a team, they ran almost 90 plays in that humidity. So don't worry about the Q tag. He'll be fine. Once again, I expect another great day for A.J. Brown, 8,300. Home against Jacksonville. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Well, we're going straight Browns here. Straight Browns. Back to back. He should be able to have another great day against the Seattle secondary at home, and then we're gonna go Marquise Brown. Hey, what can I say, man? He's doing his best to try and hold it down with a struggling offense, but 14 catches last week, 140. If I remember properly, don't expect 14 catches, but like I said, probably the most important thing about this is the targets. Listen to the targets. Week 1 he had 6. It went up to 11 and then 17 targets. Arizona's bad. They're going to be throwing the ball. You're going to get opportunity with 11 and 17 targets. Shit, 6 targets is good enough. But when you're getting 11, 17 targets on a bad team, then yeah, you're going to look at them for 7,700. Okay, so we're going to keep going down. Like I said, we're going back to the favorite term. We're going with targets. We're going to go straight down 7,100 and 6,900. My next 2 plays, I like both of these guys together, Metcalf and Lockett. And I'm going to look at Lockett because Lockett, with the deep playability against this bad Detroit secondary, listen to these targets for Lockett. Lockett went from 4, first game of the season, 11. And in both 11 target games, that turned into 9 receptions, one for 107 and the other for 76. Lockett has the potential to break the slate. He did it like 2 or 3 times last year, and one time the year before where he went for like 156 and 2 long touchdowns, or 2 long touchdowns with like 3-4 receptions going for like 176. He has that potential to do it here. Can Metcalf break it? Yeah, but the bigger play, the deeper threat, who gets the pass that take the most air yards is Tyler Lockett. So Tyler Lockett will be the guy that I'll be looking for. I think y'all should be looking for, especially in GPPs. We'll move on, and then we'll round it out with Cortland Sutton. The Broncos defense is ugly, but Cortland Sutton is still having a great fantasy day. Bad Las Vegas offense. Who knows? He's the target monster there. So I think he'll be a good choice at 6,800. Bateman against Buffalo. Like I said, if they're hurt, he's great value for 6.6. Against a beat-up Buffalo secondary, he should be 7.6. Judy's another week healthy after the bruised ribs and everything landing on the ball. He's 6,500. Brandon Cooks, the man just gets targets ridiculously. It's always double-figure targets with him. He's going against LA at 6,400. Rondell Moore might come back this week. If he doesn't, you still got to run with Dortch. Dortch is 5.3. He's doing his thing. Without even touchdowns, he still meets expectation because he's getting anywhere from 6 to 10 targets a game. And then my favorite rookie wide receiver, Drake London at 6.3. Those are my top plays for wide receivers. And those go to tight ends. Tight ends, holy smoke. Man, if you go to the tight ends, it's very rare you see a drop off like this. Mark Andrews, 8,400. The next tight end is damn near $2,000 cheaper. You got to go all the way down to Darren Waller at 6,500. Oh man, you know what's funny? I don't even like taking Darren Waller, but like I said, it's fantasy. Anything can happen per week. But if you ask me, I'll go for Mark Andrews, 8,400 against Buffalo. I would go straight down to Goddard, and then even maybe Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts finally came out of the shadow of Cordell Patterson and Drake London. No, he didn't score a touchdown, but 8 targets, 5 for 87. You'll take that. He's going to stay bouncing between high 5s and low 6s. 6,100 this week, home against Cleveland. Goddard again, Philly home against Jacksonville. But the discrepancy from the top. Remember, there's no Kelsey on the slate, so there's a big discrepancy up top. As you get to the middle, everything's pretty much value from here on out from 6,000. David Njoku against Atlanta. He's going against Atlanta, who doesn't guard the tight end very well. Bottom 4, bottom 5 against tight end in fantasy points. You got to give it up. You got to give it up for my man Zach Ertz. I mean, it seems like you're either going Andrews or value. That's it. I mean, that's for me. I probably won't play Waller that much. Maybe get a bit of him in here and there, but if I can't afford Andrews, I'm going for one of these 5,000 guys who has high upside. Zach Ertz, like I said, he's going to be throwing 4 targets, 11 targets, 10 targets. He's getting 6 receptions a game. He just doesn't get to the end zone a lot, but like I said, with 5,500, 11, 10 targets, that's going to help you out a lot. After that, you're looking at Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett is a big piece of this offense. Now, are the targets a little supplemented because Keenan Allen's not there? Possibly. But they were looking for him when Keenan Allen was healthy. If we look at week 1, oh, and by the way, Everett has 16 targets behind Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and they throw the ball to Eckler. I mean, he's part of this offense. He's a significant part. 4 targets, 3 receptions, 54 on the touchdown. 10 targets week 2, and then he got 6 targets without the entire game of Keenan Allen. Remember, Keenan Allen got hurt in the KC game. So, Gerald Everett for 5,500 at Houston. And then finally, one of my boys that I was worried about in my season-long league, they finally got on the board. With all the throwing that they do, it's about time he got there. My man Hockenson. Hockenson also has a good matchup. Like I said, Detroit home against Seattle. Hockenson finally, he didn't get a lot of targets, got 4, but he was getting targets before, 7, 7, 4. And he seems to be always between 3 and 5 receptions for the past 2 weeks, but this time he got a touchdown. Hockenson is definitely like the third option there, so maybe it's a little different now with Jamal Williams now being the starter instead of bringing him in and actually being targeted. When he's a starting running back, Jamal probably get both depending on the play, but now maybe Hockenson might get a little bit of a look. Sometimes the injury does change the flow for the receivers, so definitely pay attention to that. And I think we can now finish this week off. This week full preview with the tight end with the defenses. And as usual, I'm always going to mention paying up, but I've been paying down all year. It's worked well for me. Going against another high ankle sprain. Mac Jones doesn't look like he's going to play, so Green Bay will be at home against a backup New England QB and Brian Hoyer. I don't think Hoyer has won any of his starts. I think that's the stat on him, something like that. But they're the top defense at 5K. It drops 200 less to 4,800. Pittsburgh is home against the Jets. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. My next favorite play would be Philly against Jacksonville, 4,600. They're also a home defense. Scroll down a little bit more. I like 4,300. Now we're getting to some decent prices. I like 4,300 for the New York Giants. They have been playing well. And like I said, Chicago is not. Some people probably like, nah, I don't really trust the Giants. Check this out. Yes, they can run the ball. That's all they can do. Chicago has yet to pass the 30 mark in pass completions. That's all I gotta say. 4,300. Giants look great at home. Like I said, they have a Super Bowl caliber defense, but their offense is just not clicking right now. It's got to be the coach to me. Denver, even going to Las Vegas, those cornerbacks could go against Devontae Adams. They got a solid run stoppage, so I think Denver's going to be in for another low-scoring game. Haven't let nobody go over 20 points yet. I think the highest they led is, 17 so far, so Denver's defense is going to hold them in the game. So Denver's always, the way Denver's playing defense, they're always a pick. After that, my last 2 picks, and yes, I will go against, these are 2 teams that are struggling. Now, yes, Trubisky can, make a couple big plays, but this is not an explosive offense. So we can drop all the way down. And yes, I will confidently say, for fantasy purposes, the New York Jets are a good fantasy pick against Pittsburgh. Yes, they're on the road, but 3,600, that opens up a lot. Like I said, they're not going against an explosive Pittsburgh team. They're an okay Pittsburgh team, but an okay Pittsburgh offense, better defense. And then I think you can scroll down once again, and you can go all the way down. Once again, we'll be doing the opposite because of how they're struggling on offense. You can literally take the Raiders. The Raiders are $3,000. they're the floor this week. So, and that's pretty much it. So, I hope you guys like the information in the Week 4 preview with the price settings on FanDuel. Once again, FanDuel did an amazing job with the price, especially with the backup running backs and the handcuffs. Hope you guys love the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, put that notification button on. If I'm gonna be a proper YouTuber, I shouldn't be telling my friends and family, hey, I just put a YouTube up. You subscribe, hit the goddamn notification button, please. Support, motherfucker. Support. And Gradient Fantasy Week 4 preview is pretty much done. Hope you love the information. Gradient Fantasy, signing off.